How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Heyday. Feeling stressed? Take a moment for yourself with Heyday. Stroll through rows of golden wheat, tend to cute barnyard animals, and discover the joys of a digital farm retreat. You don't have to hop in a car or catch a plane. Escape to the farm at the tap of a finger. With Heyday, you're not just tending to a farm, you're tending to yourself. Heyday. Search Heyday, that's Hay space DAY, in your favorite app store. Heyday is a free-to-play mobile game and offers optional in-app purchases and random rewards.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we discuss every single Bare Naked Lady song and album from A to Z, and then finally in chronological order for the albums. You know, I knew that we were going to have to talk about the Stephen Less songs.
Well, all in good time, Tracy, all in good time.
Yes. It is. We're talking about all in good time.
Oh, shoot. Oh, I should have prepared for this.
Heidi is just over there, like, shaking her head.
Shenanigans.
She's like, why did I come back for this?
Shenanigans.
Welcome back, shenanigans. Shenanigans all around.
Oh, shit.
That's what I found at the record store the other day, by the way.
Wow.
I found they have a copy of the vinyl album of that hits album that we were talking about.
Yeah.
The rainbow cover. And
three of
it's such a
them.
beautiful cover, but I was I just can't buy it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah,
Don't do it. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Like, I'm not throwing down $30 for it.
It's a tarp.
It's a tarp.
It's a carp. So we'll get back to the subject, sooner or later, all in good time.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of all in good time, I think this is an aptly named album.
It is.
Considering that they came back after having left Stephen in the lurch, or having Stephen left the band, whichever way you prefer to look at it. It will all happen all in good time. I do like the fact that they brought back Michael Vojevoda to
Vojevoda?
Easy for you to say.
You try saying it.
Vojevoda.
Say it 3 times fast.
No, try saying the whole name. It's the Philip part that
in the mirror.
Yeah. Philip here behind you and mix it up.
That's all we had to do this whole time is say his name 3 times in a mirror.
Wow. Can we summon him right now? Because it'd be great to have him join us.
I wish we could, because I lost the interview somehow when I switched computers.
What?
So yeah,
that sucks.
It's somewhere in the ether, and I'm working on getting it back. So if you've been trying to listen to the interview, people, it will be back at some point when I'm able to hitch up the old computer and find the interview files.
Is the old computer in the old apartment?
No.
Because I could help you break in there.
It's right underneath the old dish rack.
God damn it! Jesus. I didn't want to interrupt, but God damn it, I was just supposed to say that.
Anyway.
And mousetrap.
I was going to say, as long as the mice haven't gotten in there and not at the wires.
Oh boy.
Anyway.
At this point, I will quote Statler and Waldorf. It's kind of like a torture to have to listen to the show.
No.
But let's talk about the 2010 album, All in Good Time. Let's talk about the exterior of the album, which is all blurred out. You can't see it.
Here, take a good look.
Look at this wonderful picture that no one can see because it's blurred.
Oh God, I have glaucoma.
Goodness. Okay, I see it now. Yes.
So here's my problem with this album cover. You're coming back. You're trying to reset the feeling of this album. You're trying to make people understand what this new band is going to sound like. And you have a sepia picture.
I was going to say, this looks like they're like an industrial band from Germany.
Das Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah. Ladies.
Yeah. I feel like
I don't want to listen to that album.
I do, but no, yeah, it's a pretty stark album cover.
I never picked up on it until I was looking at it this week. Look how many lights there are.
Oh, there are 5 lights.
There are 5 lights.
5 lights by 4 people.
Oh, wow.
Now, they might be trying to be poetic about that, but is it really a great way to go to say, yeah, in the past we were 5, now we're down to 4?
I kind of like that. I kind of like
the theme of the album. I'm for it.
Mm-hmm. Pro.
I feel like it is a very dour cover to start off.
Well, why would that be, Tracy?
This album is sort of like mourning the band's original incarnation and like the rebirth of the band as almost a new band in a sense. So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
It's appropriate, but I don't feel like it gives a good feel for people wanting to go out and buy the album. It's not encouraging.
Well, maybe if they're feeling that way too, it's like a commiseration kind of thing.
I mean,
they're also sad.
You look at this album cover and you ask yourself, how much more sepia could this cover be? The answer is none more sepia.
No, it is. You're missing sepia. You're the Mrs. Sepia.
Mississippi.
Wow.
We're
one Mississippi.
We're east of the Mississippi.
Like 4 seconds.
Oh, nicely done.
Mississippi to Mississippi.
So here we're talking about dour pictures. Here's the inside.
That's a good picture of Ed. I like
He's
that.
got like a little twinkle in his eye.
Well, yes, but then here we get Kevin.
Oh, he's sad. God, he's handsome.
And then we got Jim. Or Tyler, sorry.
That's Jim.
That's Tyler.
Jim's looking different.
And then we got Jim. They are all looking sad.
Well, I mean, it must be like an awkward shoot anyway, right? Because they're all like, what do we do with our faces? We're sad, but we don't want to like go on record for all eternity as being sad, probably. But because, Steve's going to see it. So,
well, I know. I think here's the other piece for me. Not all the songs on this album are about sadness and about loss. So
this is a perfect opportunity for me to jump in with They Might Be Giants reference, which is kind of obligatory. Sad, 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 sad.
Boys.
I be sad. Sorry, I had to.
Sad, 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 sad boys. You make me feel. Oh, wait, no, wrong song.
They don't make me feel so good.
And then they start off the album. They're really leaning into this.
I will talk about this when it's my turn, because I do have some thoughts. Some thoughts.
Go ahead, because
all right.
You run away as your opening song.
Okay. Hold on. So I do think it's one of the strongest songs on the album, if not the strongest song. It's this album in particular for me. Coming back to it was really interesting because I hear it very differently than I heard a lot of these songs, like when we were listening to them out of order. I didn't know as much about the history of the band and the story behind it. I mean, I knew kind of the first time I think when we did All in Good Time, which was early on, you did mention, like obviously this was the first album after Steven left and things like that. So I kind of understood, but like I was still very new to the whole, I hadn't really experienced a lot of their music. So listening to it now and knowing like where their trajectory took them, again, I don't hate the new material, but they have definitely focused in on like the slightly country influenced pop rock stuff. And this album is actually pretty experimental. There's a lot of different kind of songs on it, and I really appreciated that. Like coming back to it, I was like, okay, they don't always hit, but like I like that they're trying something new and they're trying new things. And like, I wish there was more of that experimentation going on in the more, kind of current albums. So I actually really appreciated that they kind of like did some weird things with it, like 4 Seconds is an interesting song. Yeah, there's a few songs. Actually, let me load up my list here.
I mean, while you're doing that, Mike,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say we talked about starting off right with "You Run Away." I do think that it's one of the strongest, if not the strongest, song on the album. I think it should be the closer because I've always been a fan of kind of ending on the high note, ending with the climax, kind of like you're building up to it. I could say a lot now. I would actually be really happy to hear all of you comment on this because you still are much more steeped than I am. But I kind of feel like "You Run Away" is a little unfair to Steven. And I get that there's probably very valid things that the band was feeling at the time, but I mean, my understanding was this was a mutual decision.
That's what they said.
Yeah. So I mean, like, but the weird thing is, like, okay, so we've kind of coyly joked about the cocaine incident a few times. And the fact that it happened around the time where they were releasing a children's album was probably not ideal. But also, at the same time, I feel like a lot of this was Stephen Page feeling kind of caged and imprisoned by like what the band's expectation of our songs should be like, and wanting to kind of spread his wings and do something else and kind of go off and do his own thing. So like, it does kind of seem like a mutual decision to me. So for Ed to be like, well, "You Run Away," it's like a little unfair. I don't know. But I think it should end the album. I would probably open the album with something like "Golden Boy," something that has a little bit more of an upbeat feel to it. And I would end the album with "All in Good Time." And I think other than that, I wouldn't change much. I mean, I actually am, again, what I took away from this was I actually really appreciated how experimental a lot of this stuff was, and how like some of the songs, like "Summertime's" really good, 4 Seconds is really good. Jerome was interesting, and to me, listening to Jerome, because I have in the meantime been to Jerome, I visited Jerome.
No, you have not.
I have family in Arizona, and we went to Jerome, and I saw the sliding jail and all
You
that.
never
So,
told me that.
it was pretty cool. So, yeah, I mean, like, I think ending it with "Watching the Northern Lights," I don't hate that song, but it's not very energetic, and it's not. Like, for me, I'm like, you want to open and close with either something very energetic or kind of like the emotional climax. So I would open with "Golden Boy" and I would close with "You Run Away." But other than that, I don't think I would change much. And I do appreciate this album for what it is now. And I think I wonder if I listen to these songs now, if I would rate them a little more benevolently. But that's just me. So I'll throw it out to Betsy and Heidi and Tracy, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Go ahead, Bets.
Okay. So yeah, I think "You Run Away" could be a bookend. I think it could be like a bold opener or like a strong closer. "Summertime," for some reason, I like the time signature that they keep changing up. I like some things about it, but there's something about it that I can't put my finger on, that I don't overall like the song. I can't tell you what exactly it is, but it's something very, I don't know. There's just something about it. I like how some things about it, but I don't It's like real summertime to me. I strongly, sometimes I strongly don't like it, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Betsy, really don't think too long about it. It's something you'll never find.
Oh Jesus Christ.
But no, I mean, like, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I think, again, like, experimental is how I would view this. I feel like this is the band trying to, like, find itself.
Yep.
After Steven left, being like, okay, what are we now? What is Bare Naked Ladies all about? And I kind of wish that they had kept the scope and the breadth and then, like, I don't know. I just it feels like they kept narrowing in. And I know some people who run, like, YouTube channels, for instance, and they're like, oh, well, this video got really good algorithm or whatever, and it got like 1 million views. So now we're going to make a bunch of videos like that. And it's like, okay, great. But, like, it'd be nice if you changed it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the experimentalness on this. My problem is there's so many slow songs. Like,
there are quite a few.
Yeah.
I tried to organize this album this week, and I found it impossible because there's so many slow songs. You'd never really pick up a rhythm and can get into it before it's immediately time to slow it down again. You almost have to do every other song as a slow song, which kills the energy of the album.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with alternating. What were you saying, Heidi? Sorry, I didn't mean
I was just going to say, actually, yeah, it's a slow start.
Yeah.
Period. Because you run away, and then Summertime's kind of a smooth groove kind of song. And then another heartbreak. And then you get bammed with 4 seconds.
4 seconds is the first song that's really kind of
what just happened? And then
that's why I feel like it was so wrong to put 4 seconds where they did.
Well, they put it at spot number 4. That's pretty appropriate.
Go in, and then all of a sudden, bam, smack in the face, and then you're back to cruising a little bit. And then I would have opened with Every Subway Car, though. That's
also a good upbeat one. I would agree with that.
But even though, because Golden Boy is such a diss, it's
it is.
So I'm not sure I would open with that, but I would put that further up in the album.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd put You Run Away, I think, at the end too.
Ooh.
But I would probably put Every Subway Car first, and then maybe Summertime. I'd put 4 seconds maybe around maybe 6th, and mix it up a little bit more. But I kind of think Every Subway Car would be perfect at that beginning. Another one that might fit that's a little more upbeat is not Gerard.
I'm wondering if it's the one that I picked for number 1.
How Long? No.
I don't know. I got rid of How Long.
Yeah, I'm not attached to it at all. Really.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't How Long. It was shoot.
Was it Ordinary?
Oh, I Have Learned.
I Have Learned. Okay. Yeah.
So you get a little more rock action in that one too, a little more upbeat action. It's more whoops. But
I'd say upbeat was the right word I'd use to describe it.
When You Dream in some ways. And I kind of might put that as a bonus track, but I think you're right. I think it really shifts us down. So you're like in a standard vehicle, a 5-speed, and you're like
grinding the gears.
And you're like shifting.
That really grinds my gears.
My gears.
Would you guys replace How Long with How Long by Ace if they did a cover of
it? Maybe if I had heard of it.
Going on.
That's the one. Yep. That's a good tune.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I think I'd like to just take all the songs and kind of put them in a, the treble game or whatever, dice thing, and you'd pop it.
The bubble. And
move them all around and shake them up, and then pour them back out and see which order they would go in better. But I love You Run Away.
Yeah,
but I don't think it should be the opener. Like I want, like Flip is a great opener for an album. oh, this is, yeah. But I think I would rather have heard Every Subway Car or even Golden Boy at the front end.
Now, I have a question.
4 seconds, I think, would be too weird to start the album off. It's a little too
It
weird.
would grab my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would. I don't know if it would give you a good feel of what the album is going to be, though.
What is the album? It's it's such a mixed bag anyway. It could just start with whatever.
Well, it is, but I mean, if you're coming into BNL like, what is this new band going to sound like? And then you're hit with 4 seconds.
I know, but there's no theme other than the song that they chose to admit that was the self-title, All in Good Time.
Yes.
So leave that off.
I will say this. There's 2 themes here. One is like metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Right. Or like trying to find yourself. And the other is we're angry at Steven.
Yeah. That's pretty
in
much the theme of the
retrospect,
album.
I think is a really good argument for my starting with Golden Boy and ending with
and that's kind of why I was kind of leaning with that too. It was like
You
that
bookend
the
it with
Golden Boy was a
Steven
total
song.
F you, Steven. And then You Run Away was kind of a kinder, gentler F you. But I think you're right. It's this whole album
More
could be
emo version.
Kinder,
F
gentler
you, Steven. That's kind of the title of the album.
Golden Boy is the fuck you, Steven. And then You Run Away is the Canadian Steve.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Steven.
Frig off,
But then
Steven.
you get like Kevin Earn, the Mediator, who's like,
Go away, hoser.
Right.
Go away, hoser.
So you get these little like, hey guys, it's okay. Let's hug it out.
Well, yeah,
then
why don't
we're
you just go
back
run
to-
away, eh? Pick me up a tractor tire at Tim Hortons. Why don't you?
Go draw it in the river with a Labatt Blue.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Well, so I feel like we kind of like passed to you, Bets, and then we all sort of
I got
like
the song too, and then Chaos. But
chaos. So yeah, why don't we pick up where you left off?
The Kevin songs on this are kind of funny. Like Another Heartbreak is kind of, it's sweet and it's Kevin, but it's a little anemic, maybe.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
Kevin, have some iron.
Yeah, I know. Take it with some orange juice for maximum absorption. But 4 seconds was kind of, definitely a head bopper.
Yeah, I like 4 seconds.
Don't really know what it's about, but
I always kind of likened it to like when you like count to 10 when you're angry or whatever. You take a few seconds to collect yourself.
Musicians count to 4.
Well, because most of our songs are in 4/4. So.
Oh, you saying that just gives me an idea. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear your idea.
Yeah, we'll do.
Oh no, I'm just mixing up my album order now that you said that.
Continue on, Beth.
Yes,
Sally Ford.
You're not gonna put 4 seconds at number 4.
I do think it's appropriate to have 4 seconds at number 4. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, On the Lookout. I mean, good song, kind of middle of the road.
True,
but
true.
You can kind of put it wherever. The next, Ordinary, Every Subway Car, and Jerome were probably my 3 favorites. I don't know. The only one I didn't really like was The Love We're In. It was a little too country and too whiny for me. Yeah.
My dog stole my truck and drove off with my wife.
Yeah.
You hated that song when we reviewed it too.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not what I tune in for, I guess. Yeah, I mean, just to wrap it up real quick, I just don't know why All in Good Time isn't on All in Good Time. That's my major beef.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
Yeah. Apart from that, watching the Northern Lights, it's kind of a good closer because it's relaxing and it'll soothe you to sleep or something. Or if you just had a gummy or something, it's a good song maybe. But it's
itself.
Yeah, I know. Like a Tubby Time song or something. It's just it's relaxing, but it's it doesn't have like the multi kind of angles that I like that BNL has, where it's
agreed.
a little this, little that, little sweet, little salty kind of thing. But that's Kevin. That's what he does. And I love him, but it's just not my very favorite. I don't know. I think that's my major points. So you guys carry on. What you got?
Hold on. Let me see how much time we have left. We have 6 minutes. Okay. And we can always come back on after. I'm just saying, well, I had a lot of problems with this just because it's so many slow songs. It is hard to organize. Again, it feels like you're constantly going from first gear to fifth gear, and then some of the songs that start
like driver's ed, like, driver's ed in a standard car.
I like that. That's a nice analogy. Tracy, let me interject here though, and it weirdly. Let me defend an album without Stephen Page on it. I would say, isn't maybe the message here like because it was like 3 years between releases, right? No, it wasn't.
Well, okay, if you count Snack Time, then no, it wasn't.
Okay.
They released this. I want to say, let me see. It was 2010. I'm just trying to remember what month.
Well, like,
hold on.
Blame and was like 2007, right?
That was 2006.
March 23rd.
And then you had Snack Time.
Me being like, that was the last real album they released. Not including Pollywog in a Bog, which is an amazing song, an absolute banger, and it deserves all the love it gets. But like, since again, like aside from like the holiday album and the kids album, this was the first like major studio release they've had in multiple, like 3 or 4 years, right? So like, All in Good Time, like, hey, we need to. They obviously the band needed to collect themselves. Right. And also, I do feel like it's them trying to kind of figure out what are we now? Where do we go now? Axl Rose.
Where do we go
now? But like, I think it's them kind of. I think them choosing All in Good Time for the title was basically saying to their like fans, like, hey, we're still kind of figuring things out too. So All in Good Time, here's what we've come up with. We're still figuring things out. We're still experimenting. And again, I kind of wish they had held on to that kind of experimentation and branched out a little more. But I understand, you find your niche.
Well, I'm trying to remember. Hold on one second.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to remember when they started recording.
They recorded it May 19th to July 24th of 2009.
Holy
just off the top of my head.
That was
holy
March 23rd.
So let me give some context. Stephen leaves February 2nd night.
They hopped on it.
And they like recorded it 3 months later. They recorded this album. And then they didn't release it for a few until March the following year, but they recorded this right afterwards. Like I get
fresh.
The anger, but they didn't wait long to decide what they were going to sound like.
Well, my go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I'm sure they're like full of ideas.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering
in a glass cage of emotion
because we know there were like creative differences. I do wonder because you are hearing more of Kevin. I think a little bit more of Jim. I wonder if like the band was sitting on some songs that, I don't know. I wasn't there. I have no idea. But maybe Steven was being a little controlling and being like, nah, we shouldn't include that. We shouldn't include that. That doesn't really sound. And, Ed and Steven or Steven and the rest of the band might have been kind of at odds with, well, no, we have these songs. I think they're good enough. We should release them. Again, I'm just kind of projecting.
They composed 27 songs for this album.
Wow.
They recorded 18, but they composed 27.
Out of strife
You're on
comes
Wikipedia
art,
too, huh?
right? So the fact that there was like a build up to this, I'm sure it wasn't just like sudden, right? There was probably like looming over the band, like, oh man, is this gonna, what's happening? Is this gonna last? So probably, there was a period of kind of instability and angst, and we all know angst creates great music, great art. So that probably helped.
Just it astonishes me how quick they got into the studio to record.
That is very fast. That's like when someone breaks up with someone and then they're like immediately with someone else, and you're like, what's going on?
Wait a minute. This seems a little fast. Were you going behind my back there, buddy? And I would say some of these songs they probably some of these songs they were probably writing beforehand. All in Good Time, Let There Be Light, Summertime, Jerome, I Saw It, Moonstone, All on the Lookout, Every Subway Car, Watching the Northern Lights. All those could have been written before Steven left the band.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ordinary, Golden Boy, You Run Away were written after.
Clearly a response.
I'm going to kick us off and bring us back on, because I would like to give the order that I would like to do and what I would like to put on this album. Zoom.
Recording in progress.
So here's the thing. First of all in Good Time is not on Kubas.
Oh, really?
I do not know why. I went on this week to try to reorganize the album on there. Nope, it's not on there. It's the only BNL album not on Kubas. It is on Spotify, though. But they're missing all of the songs.
Yeah, the FYE edition, the bonus tracks, yeah.
Yeah, there's no bonus tracks, which, I mean, we've talked about all 4 bonus tracks that they did for this, that they actually recorded and didn't add on. I'm going to add some of those back on. I also really like the version of Every Subway Car that they did with Aaron McCarley.
Yeah.
And I really fought myself on whether or not to add that on and take off the Ed version only, but I like it being on the single. It does give it a different
for that fight. I forgot that there's an alternate version.
Yeah, I really like it. Like it brings an extra layer in, that usually you would get with Steve's voice, and I think is missing in there. And I get that's probably why they didn't add it onto the album, because they're like, nope, we're going to make this strictly BNL.
That's one of the things I think. First is the songwriting, obviously, but I really miss the harmonies. I really miss because I think Steven and Ed harmonize so well together. Legitimately, they're up there with I don't even know, Simon and Garfunkel and the Beach Boys. They're really, really good.
Yeah. I'm looking at this album. I don't see harmonies on this album.
Not as many, for sure.
No.
Well, yeah, it's hard to see them unless you're looking at the sheet music, but I definitely don't hear them.
Little synesthesia humor.
Oh.
Nice.
More blue.
But they still have Jim, they still have Kevin, they still have some amazing vocal and Tyler.
Again, they're finding their new voice or voices, and because later on you actually do get more harmonies between Ed and Jim or Ed and Kevin and Ed and Tyler even. But I think you go from a place where the go-to harmonies is Ed and Steven, and then to be oh, okay, well that half's gone. So what do we do now?
Right. And you feel that gone. You feel that missing by not
for sure
blending it in more, which is sad. But I also do like having more Kevin and more Jim.
Yeah, that is good.
My only thing I would say is that all Jim's songs are very slow. And so I'm like, oh, it's hard to blend this with like putting it like Kevin, Jim, Ed, Kevin, Jim, Ed, because Kevin is 50-50 on slow. Jim is every single song he's written for this is slow. And I'm like, it just slows down the album way too much. Mm-hmm. I did finally come up with an order. Okay. It isn't extraordinary. It's ordinary.
Is it ordinary?
It's ordinary.
I knew it.
And I decided since I couldn't find a flow for the album, that I was going to go with a theme.
Okay.
So my side one is going to be grief.
Yeah.
And then my side two is everything else.
Grief and everything else.
Miscellaneous.
If I wrote an autobiography.
Side two, everything else.
Grief and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Grief and everything else. I love it. There we go.
Very goth. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off with ordinary. Because I think it starts off nice and slow, but then it does have those. It is one of the songs that does have beautiful harmonies in it, and I think it does present.
It does build.
Yeah, it builds, and I think it presents a good feel of like old BNL into what new BNL can and will sound like. I think it's that nice bridge. And then I get right into, and it also is talking a lot about loss and the sadness that goes with loss, which then leads us right into the next stage, which is pure anger with Golden Boy. Mm-hmm. I am going to rage out at you, Stephen. Then we go back to sadness again, where we have Kevin doing another heartbreak. Mm. And of course, Kevin's saying, oh, here comes another heartbreak. Well, you have to follow it up with the heartbreak. He's just seeing it coming. So we lead into You Run Away.
Okay.
After that, we do need a little Jim in here. And this song, I honestly, when we talked about it, I feel like it's a Steven song, but he switched genders just to make it so it wasn't a Steven song. And they left it off the album. She Turned Away. I really feel like he's talking a lot about Steven leaving with that song. Then we go back.
You're gonna include it though?
I am. I knew that you would hate it because that's one of the songs that you did not like. It was one of your low ratings.
Yeah.
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 But I think it needs to be in there. And then I have him going back to anger again with I Have Learned, which is definitely Ed raging out again. And then I changed something because of something you said, Aaron, where 4 seconds is that calming down. Like, I'm going to take 4 seconds to calm myself down. So I'm putting it in right here after I have
transition.
Learned. Yeah, that's my transition.
I like that. It's a nice little pivot song, a knee.
And then I'm going to finish up this side of the album with 2 songs by Kevin, which I believe both should be on there and give a good release to the end of this side of the album, which is All in Good Time.
Yeah.
And then Let There Be Light.
Yeah, I would amend what I said earlier because I kind of forgot that All in Good Time wasn't included in like the standard release here. So I would include All in Good Time on the album, All in Good Times, just to be a completionist about it.
If nothing else, if I was going to finish off this album like otherwise, like having it randomized, I would finish the album with All in Good Time because it does give that nice sentiment for like, we're moving on. Like, this was our exorcism album. We are now moving on from here. Although they don't. We'll discuss that next week.
The demon.
Ed has not exorcised the demons until just like last year. But we'll get to that.
He's clean.
This body is not clean. So now we're on the side of like everything else. And I have to start it off with what I feel like is the strongest song on the album, in my opinion, which is Summertime. I think it's a really good album opener in terms of side 2. We're doing something new.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's first of all, it's kind of upbeat, not necessarily in tone, but in like it's a little faster in tempo, and it is kind of experimental. So it does kind of it would be a good song to be like, oh, we're coming out of the chrysalis now, we're emerging.
I'm then going to go into Jerome, because it's Kevin doing something a little different.
Jerome. It's a good song. I like it more now than I did when I first heard it.
Yeah.
Not just because I've been there.
Oh, wait, Aaron, do you mean
humble brag?
Yeah. I've been to Jerome. I don't know.
Jerome.
Aaron, are you trying to say I saw it?
I saw it. Do you think? No.
Because that's the next song. I saw it.
Nice.
From there, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add in, I think, Ed's weakest song, but still think it deserves to be on the album.
In general?
On the album.
Okay.
But I think it still deserves to be on the album. It's still pretty good, although Betsy disagrees with me. Moonstone.
Do it. Oh, Moonstone. I don't disagree.
Not a bad song.
You gave it a 2.3, so.
Well, I don't disagree.
Well, look, that's a C minus.
Yeah.
C's
get degrees, Tracy.
Then I'm going to move on to On the Lookout. And then finish with Every Subway Car.
Okay. I like that.
A little caboose.
Yep. And then I'm going to finish with having a hidden track, which I think we need to have a hidden track. I'm going to have Watching the Northern Lights be the hidden track.
I like that.
And I'm leaving off How Long in the Love We're In.
Really? Yeah. Leaving off How? Okay.
Yeah, I really don't like either of those songs.
Would you replace it with How Long by Ace?
Yes. Yep. So that's what I went with. You know, I just don't think this is their strongest album.
It's not, but I like it better than when I first heard a lot of the material on it, interestingly enough.
I wish they had held off longer on releasing. I get they were trying to come out like Wham. We're not Wham literally, but
George Michael, we know you listen. Come on the show
from heaven.
R.I.P.
But I know they were trying to like we're going to set the metronome early. And let people know who we are.
Katie reference?
Yes. This does kind of feel like their "Hey, we're still here" album.
Yeah,
it was kind of a statement. I do think that the album probably served more purpose as a statement of them saying we're not going away.
It's really interesting though that they recorded it 2 months after.
Well, like you said, I'm sure they had a bunch of material sitting around that they're like, well, let's just, let's go and record these songs. And,
the interesting thing, though, Aaron, is they didn't release them for 10 months after they recorded them.
They are fully gestated.
Yes, they did emerge from the chrysalis. They were in the,
fully formed.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Sense.
I can see.
Symbolic.
I can see them sitting on it a little while and doing some work on the songs and mixing, but it does not take 10 months to mix an album. So if you're coming out quick
have you mixed an album?
Yeah, I know because albums. I look and I see in the notes how long it takes them to mix albums in the past. Nice.
It really varies by project, but okay.
I feel like there was a reason that they held on to it.
Yeah.
I just don't know what it was.
Well, I'm curious maybe if some of the songs got a little too personal and maybe Ed was like trying to reconsider, should I rewrite that? Should I change some lyrics?
Yeah.
Because there was some, I don't know, it's interesting. At the time that we discussed and watched their reunion at the awards, I was not fully aware. I mean, I understood the history of the band, but it didn't resonate as strong with me. Like if I saw that now, it would mean a lot more to me. And yeah, I feel like both sides have really kind of gone through a lot, and it was really nice to see them perform together again. I really wish that they would do one final Victory Lap album as a group with Steven. Probably not going to happen, but that would make my year.
No, I think their styles are too different at this point.
They've diverged, yeah, quite a bit. It's Steven took the road less traveled by to Frog. And it's made all the difference.
I mean, there's a big difference between the two bands.
Agreed.
But I would have rather have seen Steven on this tour than Gus. Well, actually, no, I'll keep Guster.
Well, that'd be interesting if they had like Steven Page open. Oh, that would be a big fight, I'm sure, over who opened for who. But
I was going to say, if every other concert they open one
rotate,
right? Like
maybe
no win song.
Are you boys listening?
Can you co-headline? I don't know. Is that a thing?
Even better.
I told him 100 times. Spinal Tap and Puppet Show.
I still say that they need to go back and do a Ships and Dips 7. Ooh. And they need to have, like, they could have all of them on the cruise, and then they could have their space.
Okay,
like,
hold on.
Together.
You guys.
That's
my brother
waiting to happen.
My brother regularly goes on this metal cruise with a bunch of different metal bands, mostly from like Scandinavia. And they have multiple stages. So I'm thinking you have Steven Page and maybe the Highwaymen on one stage, you have BNL on the other, and they're trying to kind of like sway the crowd. Now come over to our end. And then
the boat is tipping
halfway through. They intentionally like sync up their inner ear monitors and they start playing the same song. And if you stand right between
if I had $1 million
harmonies,
so Venn diagram.
That would be so beautiful. Yeah. We could all heal and move on.
I want this.
Yeah.
I will leave my family for a week. Sorry, guys. And make if they make that happen.
Are you boys listening?
We've done all the creative genius work.
Yeah, all you have to do is steal our ideas. You don't even want, well, maybe a slight royalty would be nice, but other than that,
they will give me a grinning streak a mile long.
Yeah, he's a streaker.
Well, that was on the cruise, like the bare naked first ever picture. So,
yeah.
Hey, it's international waters.
That's true.
Well, guys, I've enjoyed this conversation a lot more than I thought I would, because this is a hard album to come back to. There's a lot of loss and sadness that I feel and felt when I first got this album. It did not help that I turned on the album and the first song I heard was "You Run Away." And I'm like, oh, this is what we're going with. Okay. Great. Thank you.
In your face.
What's the next song going to be? Fuck you?
Yeah. Well, you got Steven Page's You Fucked Yourself. So why not?
I mean, Steven did on a couple later albums.
Aaron, have you heard it yet?
No, that's amazing.
Oh,
I want to see a fresh reaction to that song.
Wow. Oh, yeah. So this is this is like Eminem responding to Machine Gun Kelly.
Okay. So for that album, when we come to that, Betsy, Aaron is not allowed to listen to that song.
Wow.
I don't abide by your rules, sir.
I want to see a fresh reaction. So I think that the week before we get to that song, we need to
what if he plays it at the concert we're going to
record him? No.
No.
We'll specifically reach out to Steven and say you're not.
Hey, Steven, you fucked yourself.
Yeah, I'm not coming down.
I think on that episode that the week beforehand we need to just like ambush you with it at the end of the episode and get your live reaction, and then you get a week to kind of analyze.
Wow.
But
so we're doing react stream now.
Yeah,
take that from me.
Really stroking the algorithm.
Maybe we should do that for every song. Like we ambush you at the beginning of every song before you can analyze
every subway car.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining me. And we will come back in 2 weeks and discuss Grinning Streak. And discuss if it made us grin or if it made us run for the hills.
Or streaky. Did it give you the streaks when you listened to it?
Oh, that's
adjusted issues.
Who knew?
Who knew? Did you have a clue?
And go nighty night.
Have a great night.
Good night.
See you next time.
Bye.
On Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Take a look in the book.